How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make ukgarage drums from scratch. No fucking around, let's jump straight into it. Just to let you know, all the drum samples from today's video are from my ukgarage Volume 3 drums pack. And yeah, I'm going to be showing you how I make my drums from scratch. Let's do it. Great, so firstly, I'm going to set the project to 130 beats per minute. Ukgarage is about anywhere from 130 to 140, sort of at a push. But yeah, somewhere around 135 or 130 is best. Great, so when I'm starting a UKG track, I usually start with the snare. This way, I just find it easier when you put the kick pattern in. So yeah, insert some MIDI and obviously down to C3 on every second beat. Let's put this snare. Let's find snares. So that's a cool one. Just gonna layer that with another one. I really like to layer the snares. It makes it sound just like fatter and more like over mono. It's a cool one. Let's go for that. Yeah, so now we've got that, we can focus on the kick. I'm just going to do it in MIDI, then we can put whatever kick we want in. This one for now, and we can always change it later. So you always want to kick on the first beat. I think that's pretty good. Let's make these longer. Put maybe one here or here. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, obviously I'll do everything in MIDI. That way you can actually switch out the drums. So I could just copy this into another project, and instead of like doing all this MIDI creation from scratch, I could just use the same drums and then just swap out maybe this snare, this kick, that sort of stuff. It just makes it a lot easier. Great, I'm just going to add a bit of saturation onto this kick to make it a little bit fatter and longer. Just drum bass. I find it hard to mix in these headphones. I usually use my PERC monitors, so I apologise if the mix is a little bit shit. Great, now we've got the kick and the snares. Let's just label these snare. We can now move on to the hat. So the hat is basically a closed hat. You would like something nice and short. So something like that. I mean, any of these would work, obviously, but let's see how that sounds. So yeah, you want it on the offbeat. Want something a little bit more snappy. Let's go for that, quite like that. Yeah, that's pretty simple. That's basically the foundation. And now to make it more UKG, we need to add percussion, closed hats, offbeat hats, that sort of stuff. What separates the normal sort of like almost hip hop style pattern into a ukgarage pattern. Let's start with a nice little closed hat. Insert MIDI on every second beat like this. So really quick. Also change the velocities. So the first one's not hitting as hard as the second. I mean, you can have it the other way around. It's really up to you. And let's find a closed hat. And let's add some swings. If we click on the MIDI and let's go to groove pool, this should do 64. Cool, now we've got that. Let's add maybe some percussion or something like that, some percussion loops. Let's go to drum loops, drum, one shots, grooves, here you go. Let's just try sampling a few different ones. Quite like that sort of open hat thing here. So maybe if we keep this first pattern, we could try that on there. Or we could just keep the second one. I mean, maybe we'll come back to that one. Let's just loop this for now. We can always change it. Great, let's try and add some percussion. So I'm just going to go through and add it manually. something like that, or you could maybe put it there, maybe here. Maybe add a close instead. You can switch it so it's all different. Maybe add a PERC. Just copy that over. You can also maybe add a triplet grid. So if you didn't like that, then maybe we could just create a different one. So auto track, and again, find a closed hat or normal hat, and we could try it on the triplet. Let me mute that. Something like that. So the triplet grid basically just means it's offbeat and has a sort of garage rhythm to it. So yeah, triplet grid is really popular in garage music. Obviously that's getting a bit repetitive, so you could maybe switch it out, change some of the notes, maybe make that a bit quieter. Obviously you could maybe go to the percussions again. Maybe do something like this. Definitely not that. Maybe a knock. I'll just skip that entirely. Maybe delete that one. So yeah, there's obviously loads of variations you can do when you're making sort of percussion layers. So let's stick with that for now. You can also even just go to these grooves. Like if we just sample these, I think that's the one we already used. Something like this. So this basically has all of that stuff. It's got like the offbeats, it's got the claps, the snares. Great, so yeah, now we've got that. Let's just obviously stick with that. You could be doing it forever. What you then can do is go to the sort of effects, and I'm just gonna go through atmospheres. So that sounds like a sort of rain effect. You can also go on like YouTube and search like rain. We can then just make this really low in the mix. It just makes it sound a bit more dusty. Maybe sidechain it to the kick. So I'm going to use the kickstart, Nicky Romero kickstart, or you could actually just use the compressor. So if you go to auto filter, compressor, sidechain, kick, and you could also either use the sort of rainy atmosphere sound, but you could just use sort of anything. Put it really low in the mix so you can always not hear it. You can drown it with some reverb. Just helps to add a little bit of dust. You probably need headphones to hear it. You can even add like a beat repeat, so this sort of makes it even more sort of messed up. So like glitchy almost. What we can also do to sort of dust up your drums a bit is group them. I'm going to leave the kick for now because I don't really want to add too many effects to that. So drums. We can then do a drum bass. So that's just going to make him a little bit fatter. Oh. To make your drum sort of more dusty, you can add a tape effect. I mean, the only one I have is this Isotopes one, the Mellow Fi. So that looks like this, and as you can hear, it actually makes a sort of sound, which I do find quite annoying. If you turn down the mechanics, that stops though. But yeah, if you turn it up, then it's gonna be there. But yeah, this sort of has loads of different effects. So it's got filter, this flutter thing, which makes it a bit like out of tune. This, which like roughens it up. This wear, which I do kind of like. See, a magnetic tape. So it's added quite a bit of that. And then this sort of makes it variate the pitch, which you can't hear too much. You can only hear that a lot more on like pads and sims. Oh, this varies the pitch as well. You can also drive it and change the tone. Add some noise. So yeah, instead of obviously this, you can just add the noise using this. So yeah, that sort of sums up how you can make UK Garage drums like over mono. Their drums aren't like super clean, they're just sort of nice and nasty. So yeah, another way you could do it, you could add like some sort of saturation. I mean, obviously you can go for the Ableton one, and you could like individually, so you could go over to like the snare, maybe instead of saturation you could use some overdrive, which is very similar, and you can sort of dial in the frequency a bit better. So yeah, it's all about sort of experimentation. Great, so then at the end, what we could do is consolidate all these layers. Consolidate, put them on beats mode. We could then add the swing and add it to these ones as well. Just basically make sure that swing that we applied to the closed hat is on everything. Let's take a listen. I mean, you probably won't be able to hear much of a difference. So I think it's actually over swinging these hats, so I'm actually going to take that off and just leave it as is. I mean, someone might disagree with me, but I prefer it without the swing on these triplet notes. But again, it's a flavor thing and it's up to you. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. Pretty straightforward, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one.